Have you ever been in this situation? You're trying to get a project done, marketing has one spreadsheet, sales has another, and support, they've got their own thing going on. Pretty soon you're just drowning in a sea of data that doesn't match up. Well, today we're going to talk about the solution to all that chaos, the database. Let's get into it.
I mean, why is this always the case? You share a simple spreadsheet, and it's like a guaranteed recipe for disaster. You've got conflicting versions, people accidentally deleting things. Nobody has a clue which file is the real master version. It just grinds everything to a halt. But what if there was a way, a much better way, to manage all that information?
And this really gets to the heart of it. On one side, you have the flat file, which is basically just a spreadsheet. Yeah, it's simple, but it's also a total breeding ground for errors. But on the other side, you have the database. It's a whole different animal. It's built from the ground up, for multiple people, for organization, and for teamwork.
So let's talk about the database solution. How does this thing actually tame the data beast and bring some much-needed order to all of your information? So what is a database? Well, at its core, it's just an organized system for your data. But the magic words here are concurrent access. That means multiple people can get in and work with the exact same data at the exact same time, without creating that chaos we talked about. Seriously, no more, this file is locked for editing by someone else.
So why should you even bother with a database? Well, it's because it gives you a single central source of truth. Your whole team is always looking at the same information. Your data is way more secure, and the system can grow with you from 100 records to 100 million. You can finally say goodbye to that whole spreadsheet nightmare.
Okay, so we've established that databases are pretty awesome. But how do they actually do all this stuff? Let's pop the hood for a second and see what really makes them tick.
The most basic building block of any database is something called a record. Just think of it like one super organized row in a table. So a customer record might have their name, their email, and their purchase history. Each little piece of info gets its own field, which makes it incredibly easy to search and sort through things later.
Now, this is where things get really cool. To actually talk to a database, you use a special language called SQL. Honestly, it's like Google for your data. You can ask it really specific questions like, hey, show me every customer in California who bought our new product last month, and boom, you get your answer in a flash. It's the engine behind almost all modern data analysis. So when you put it all together, the workflow is pretty straightforward. First, you create the system. Then you put your data in. After that, you use that powerful SQL language to ask questions. And finally, you get these great reports. It's a simple process that helps you turn all that raw data into actual smart decisions.
All right, you're sold. You've decided to use a database. Great choice. But now for the next big question. Where are you actually going to put it? In today's world, you've got some really important options to consider.
You've basically got two main choices. You can host it locally, right on your own servers. This gives you maximum control, but it also means you're responsible for everything. Or you can use a cloud service. This is way more flexible and can scale up easily, but it does mean you need a solid internet connection.
And another thing to think about is access. Do you need an online database which is live and always connected for real-time updates, or would an offline one work? Offline is pretty clever. You can use it even without an internet connection, and it just syncs up all your changes the next time you get online.
And really, all of these choices, local versus cloud, online versus offline, they all boil down to this one crucial goal: ensuring data availability. All that means is making sure your team can get to the data they need whenever they need it, reliably and quickly.
All right, we have covered a ton of ground, from chaotic spreadsheets all the way to the power of the cloud. So let's do a quick pop quiz and see what stuck with you.
Okay, question 1. Which of these situations is the absolute best fit for a database? Think about who needs the data and how often they need it.
And the answer is B. A sales team is the classic example, right? You've got multiple people who all need to see and update customer info in real time. A database is literally built for that job.
Question number 2 for you. What do we call it when users can get to their data easily and reliably right when they need it most?
You got it. It's C. Data availability. And this isn't just some technical jargon, right? It's the key to having a happy, productive team that can actually depend on its tools. Okay, last question. Thinking about the big picture here, why is the cloud the go-to choice for so many businesses these days?
It's all about being scalable and having remote access.
The cloud lets a business grow without having to constantly buy new hardware, and it means their teams can work together from literally anywhere on the planet.
So, we've gone from the basics of databases to the power of the cloud. But as we start putting all of this super valuable information in one central place, there's one more huge thing to think about. How in the world do you protect it from prying eyes? Well, that's a story for another time. Thanks for knowing me.